So, she raised her eyebrows and said mockingly, "The old thing, you have said that you have a broken Bentley. Even 1/10 of son-in-law's car can't be compared. How can I look at this kind of garbage? Just your family. It's shameless to think of this shit as a treasure if you haven't seen anything in the world, and lick your face to my door." Harold blurted out, "Elaine, you don't know how to raise your head here. Grandma gives you a chance to lower your head and admit your mistakes. If you don't take it well, you're still bragging. If you miss this opportunity, you won't even cry later." Elaine smiled and said, "You don't know who produced the small wild species, and said that I am bragging? Wait, I will show you what a real luxury car is now." After speaking, Elaine immediately took out the remote control key of the main door and pressed the open button. In order to facilitate the owner's self-driving in and out of the villas of Thompson, the villas are equipped with remote electric gates, so that the owners can directly use the key to remotely switch the gates and operate the gates without getting off the car. As soon as Elaine pressed the key, the opposite door began to open slowly, and the two top supercars directly facing the door were exposed. At this moment, Charlie was sitting in that Aston Martin, and he had just explained to Claire the operation process of this supercar in detail, and was about to take her out for a lap. So, he pressed the red button to start the engine, and immediately after that, the 7.3-liter V12 engine exploded like 12 wildly roaring beasts. Old Mrs. Wilson and the other Wilson family members were all startled by the loud noise that suddenly came out of the yard. When everyone looked intently, they saw that a supercar with a fierce face like a beast had been launched, slowly approaching the open door. Charlie wanted to take his wife out for a stroll, but he didn't expect that he really wanted to use the key to open the door remotely, and the door opened by itself. He didn't know that this was Elaine's contribution, and he was wondering when he saw a black car parked at the door, and there was an old lady standing beside the car. A closer look revealed that the old lady turned out to be Claire's grandmother. Claire was also very surprised, not understanding why Grandma was at her door. Charlie could see that there was a car next to the old lady, a Bentley Continental. He couldn't help being surprised. How could the Wilson family have money to buy a Bentley? Is it from Ragnar? This grandson is really willing to work hard to disgust him. At this time, Harold, who was sitting in the car, saw an Aston Martin driving out of the courtyard of Charlie's villa, and he was shocked to speak. A few seconds later, Harold said with an unhappy expression, "Damn, Charlie, the bastard, can actually drive an Aston Martin. How can this car cost 3 or 4 million? It's not worse than our Bentley." When Wendy was with Gerald, the young master of the White family, she often heard Gerald talk about various super sports cars, so she recognized this car as the famous Aston Martin 177 at a glance. So she hurriedly said, "Brother, this Aston Martin is not an ordinary Aston Martin, this is Aston Martin's most expensive 177, and it costs tens of millions." "What is it?" Harold blurted out subconsciously as if he was struck by lightning. "You said this car is an Aston Martin 177? Wendy nodded. Most people can only recognize the distinctive shark face when looking at Aston Martin, but there are specific differences between each Aston Martin, and most people cannot see it from the front face of the car. Unlike Mercedes-Benz, the cheapest Mercedes-Benz is only more than 200,000, but the most expensive Mercedes-Benz needs to be several million or even higher. But looking at the front face of Mercedes-Benz, it is difficult for anyone to see this car at a glance. What model is it? Wendy doesn't know much about cars, but she has passively accepted some knowledge about super sports cars. After all, she has been with Gerald for several years. The second young master of the rich family likes to study sports cars as his favorite hobby, so Wendy can be said to be more proficient in sports cars. When Harold heard that this Aston Martin 177 was worth tens of millions, he felt sore and hated. Damn, he thought that by buying a Bentley Continental, I would be able to take a good look at Charlie's family, but he didn't expect Charlie to come out with a sports car worth tens of millions. At this time, Harold saw a sports car parked in the yard. He recognized the sports car brand that all boys dream of, exclaimed, and blurted out, "FCK. Isn't the one next to it is a Bugatti, a Bugatti? Bugatti at least more than 20 million, right?" Wendy took a look and said with a complicated expression, "Brother, That car is a limited edition co-produced by Bugatti and Hermes, and the price is more than 50 million. FCK, Harold only felt as if he had suffered heavy blows one after another. He was stunned and said, "How did Charlie get such an expensive car, that smelly rug? And even if it is one, he actually has two." No's face was also ugly. It's probably that Charlie FCK'd out to cheat people again. I don't understand. Did Orus Hill's rich guys FCK their brains and let the donkey kick it? How come they all believe so? Charlie, this smelly rag? Harold was also very uncomfortable, and said angrily, "I want to know too." Damn, I've been waiting for Charlie this bastard to thunder, but he is still alive now. Wendy's eyes were red, and she said aggrieved, "If it weren't for Charlie, Gerald and I would have been married, our family would not have been so miserable, and my mother would not have been sent to the black coal kiln to suffer so many crimes." Noah said angrily, "Don't mention that bitch woman."